Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you, and we're going to get right on into this one. All right, I got my two bros and Byroni involved in this video tonight. We're actually right before the USC game. We're talking about the transfer portal. We're going to talk about the conference championship games, what bowl game we think we are going to be in, this new 12-team playoff. We're going to discuss it all, and we might even discuss it intelligently at times. So you should be excited. It could happen. Anyway, let's get into this one. All right, folks, I've got my my two bros here, Daryl and my other brother Daryl down here in the bottom.
I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. That's my other brother Daryl.
That's Junebug and Chilmont. And then I got my buddy Byroni up here. He plays at Fairways and Greens. He's a pro out there, and he's the guy that, as I've said many times, shoots 1 to 2 under on 16 holes and managed to shoot 74 or 75 for some reason. He likes to have a bad hole or two.
How'd you do today, William? Did you shoot that today?
Pretty much the same. No, I did a little better than that. I did better than that.
All right, so we're going to talk about, let's talk about the transfer portal. Let's talk about that just a little bit. Obviously, we've got 5 Vols heading out, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a tight end. And we need to be picking up, obviously, some wide receivers, at least 1 or 2, a running back, and then a tight end's our biggest need. But our secondary, we need a bunch in the secondary too, because we don't need to be relying on freshmen, do we?
We need, like we talked about the other day, and Byron made a good point, D-back's bad. We need guys with speed who can cover somebody man-to-man, even a little bit, because we got nobody can do that now. We have to run a zone defense because nobody can cover, and then they just pick us apart.
Well, that or you got to have some great safeties.
You're
right.
We don't need to worry about the offensive side of the football.
No, the offense is good.
Players are going to want to come here from the transfer portal. I promise you, to play offense. Where we need players, you just said it, is on the defensive side.
Yeah, we just need to load up. I mean, as many as you can get. And I don't know what our scholarship situation is, and when the NCAA, I know we sent out a formal findings, and then we did some sort of an appeal. I don't know the exact status of that right now.
We responded, and they have 60 days to respond to us.
Yeah. So that's going to affect, because we haven't been carrying a full load too. So, I mean, depending on what that comes down, we might have some extra spots open up. So, we haven't been playing with the full deck.
Yeah, after losing 30 as soon as Hypo got here, I mean, there's no way we could fill that.
I think we penalized ourselves 12 scholarships last year.
Self-imposed.
Yeah, self-imposed. Yeah. 12 of them. But we got 5 open spots based on the transfer portal of these 5 guys that are entering as of, I guess, December 5th. So there's 5 spots right there you can fill up on top of what you've got coming into your recruiting.
Yeah, I'm just loading up on defense. If you get a stud running back or you get a stud tight end, the guy that's kind of interesting that showed up on the radar, just entered, was the quarterback Armstrong from Virginia. He was a all-conference type player last year, and then his offense coordinator went to Syracuse, and now under Tony Elliott, he's just been miserable, and it's amazing. And it's kind of the opposite of the Pruitt and Heupel effect, once Heupel's, made people all-stars where they look terrible under Pruitt, and the inverse has happened to this guy. And he's a good lefty, and he might be a guy that might want to come in and compete for a starting job. That's a very interesting possibility right there. I don't know his situation or any of the NIL or have any of the inside scoop on that stuff, but he's an interesting commodity that's floating out there.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. You've got Nico, who apparently, from everything I've seen, every rumor, he's getting an $8 million NIL deal. So that kid, he's got to be, if he's not your starter, I mean, with that kind of money you're paying, he's got to be right up there. Why would somebody want to come here when you're paying that kid already $8 million?
You
Well,
would.
a lot of it too is the people, you've got to have a big ego to play quarterback. And if
Yeah.
you say, "Hey, I'm good. I've proved it. People know what I can do, and under the right system, I can be the next Hendon Hooker." Nico might be Joe Milton.
Nico. It's going to be Nico or Joe Milton. I mean, everybody else is out.
Well, that's what I'm saying
Get
is
hurt.
people might think no one knows it. No one's seen Nico play. So he could be another Joe Milton. So if a guy comes in and says, "Hey, I'm getting a fair shot," and this guy's got, you have film on this guy, and he can play, and he played very, very well last year. So, and if he's got utmost confidence, and he obviously can prove he can do it, and if he's getting a little bit of money, these guys are uber competitive. They're not going to back down from anybody. And if you're a quarterback, why wouldn't you want to come play, or at least try to play in Heupel's offense?
How much eligibility does he have left? He's got to use his final year of eligibility.
See, he'd be perfect. He'd be a guy to come in and be a stopgap, compete with Milton. If he gets the job, hey, Nico can sit for a year, and this guy can. I mean, this guy, guys, is good, or he's good. Now, I don't know what happened to him, other than he probably just lost his OC. You see the same thing with Michael Penix, who's tearing it up in Washington for the Huskies. He was great his freshman year. Kalen DeBoer left. He was terrible. DeBoer got that job at Washington, so he transferred to Washington. Now he's lighting it up. I mean, you get the right player with the right coach, and we've seen that with Hooker and Heupel. And Heupel is a quarterback whisperer, so that would be a guy to keep a look. Now, he might already have something in the works, kind of like that Michigan quarterback who went in the portal, and less than 24 hours he's at Iowa. So Armstrong might have somewhere to go, but someone like that would be perfect for next year.
Yeah, did y'all see the Notre Dame quarterback who was 8-2, playing great, had like 25 touchdowns and like 5 interceptions? He's already entered the transfer portal.
That was the Notre Game that I was mentioning.
That didn't make any sense. I mean, he's played great. He's starting.
I was shocked to see that.
Well, the guy, the original starter, got hurt, I believe, second game of the year, out for the year. And this might have been one of those things where they said, "Hey, you might find some better opportunity at another school," or when the coaches say, "We got a guy that we're going to bring in, so you might need to leave." I mean, he wasn't that. I mean, he had good numbers, but he wasn't that good.
Yeah, he might have asked, "Hey, am I the starter next year?" And they said, "We'll see." And he said, "Okay, see you later."
Now, here's something back to what's really important for Tennessee, though, is getting more defensive players in there. Yeah. So, I mean, where do you think we are with Tim Banks, defensive coordinator? I mean, if you look at the numbers, we're way up there. And, I mean, we're over 100 as far as ranking in the NCAA. I mean, that's – in most places, you're looking to get a new defensive coordinator. Is he safe being our defensive coordinator?
Well, some of the numbers you got to look at is like yards per play, not total yards. When Tennessee runs 100 plays a game, the other team's going to run 100 plays a game. So if you run 100 plays a game, you're going to get more yards than another team will only run 70 plays a game. So some of those numbers can be deceiving. I think he's done a great job for what we've got. I mean,
well, their points per game. I think they're. Let me look up their points per game. I think it's dropped a bunch this year.
The big question is he a result of his talent that he has to work with or coaching? And I think at this point it may be more just the talent level. Although if you look at what Tennessee's games this year, you'd think, "Oh man, we got a crappy defensive coordinator." But it's hard to say.
I mean, he did great at LSU. That's a tough place. We played good there. I mean, Kentucky couldn't do anything. He had the one big glaring one is
South Carolina.
South Carolina, which I think that's just the one. It's an anomaly. I have no idea what happened that day. That's one of those deals where it doesn't fit the rest of the season. Obviously, Alabama scores points. Bryce Young's the best player in college football.
Apparently, from watching that Vanderbilt game, the Jeremy Banks kid made a big difference for the defense. That's apparent. But
yeah, I think I said that in one
I
of the
think
other videos.
I agree. I think Tim Banks has been a little bit handicapped because of the players that left and what he has on the roster. But still the numbers are going to show that our defense is not that good.
Well, they're 40th in points per game at 23.5 in team rankings for this year.
That's better than I
They're
thought.
40th, which
that's not bad.
And I think that's a pretty good improvement over last year. Let me see what last year was.
I thought we were somewhere in the hundreds.
Yeah, that's
no, not at all. Hold on, and I'll tell you exactly where we were last year. Hey, we were 97th last year, 31.5, and we've moved from 97th to 40th.
Well, that is an improvement. And like Byron said,
better than I thought. That's way better than I thought.
How many points do they allow a game?
Here we go. Hold on. They're number 40, so they 23.5.
So if you walked into every game and said our defense is going to give up 24 points, how many games do you think we're going to win with our offense?
Every one of them.
Yeah, every one of them
for sure. Yeah,
it would be 12-0.
Yeah,
can't average them though. Well, not Georgia. We'd lose Georgia.
Yeah,
we'd
lose, but that's a great. That's a great. I mean, that's fine with the amount that we put up. I'll take that.
It's definitely improving, and I think they've got 6 defensive backs. They've got 3 top 10 edge rushers coming in next year, and they need to pick up some guys in the portal. If they pick up 3 or 4 really good players in the portal that are good, solid defensive backs, or maybe an edge rusher too, he'll probably continue on this trend.
We get 2 extra stops a half, and we're probably 11-1, maybe 12-0 this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Our defense was, I'm telling you, we had a really good defense this year, and he'd had an opportunity to recruit for 3 or 4 years. You know, we're just way ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
It is the reality. And we may have a pullback next year. You know, we may win 8 games next year or 9 games or something like that, because we're not going to have Hendon Hooker. You know, we may have a quarterback issue. And that's just, man, Hendon pulled us out of the fire a bunch.
Well, our offense was able to score at will.
This is it, Beavis. We're finally going to score.
Just about every game this year. And don't know if that'll continue to that level next year. I just hope there's not a bunch of idiots saying, you know, if we finish with 8 wins, fire Heupel, fire. And
we need to put.
No, that'll never happen. That's not going to happen.
You need to put in right there.
There'll be some idiots do that. There'll be some idiots do that online. Trust me. If we don't win 10 games,
I'll have plenty of YouTube videos to handle that.
Yeah, we'll straighten them out on YouTube. But yeah.
Tell me why the Rose Bowl. Why does the Rose Bowl have control of all their own bowl, and nobody else does? They have control of everything.
Go ahead.
They put them in their place, though. They basically said, we're going to go with this playoff here starting next year. There's too much money. And the Rose Bowl insists on playing their game at 2 p.m. Pacific time on New Year's Eve, because they go tied in with the Rose Parade, and they want the sun setting and at halftime or at the end of the game and blah, blah, blah. And basically the powers that be said, look, either you're in or you're out. If you don't want to change the time, we're moving on with the playoff without you. You have till Wednesday till to decide. And they go, well, I guess that time doesn't matter that much anymore. So
yeah, not to mention they're going to get an extra $50 million.
Well, explain to me then why the Sugar Bowl can't pick the team they want, why the Orange Bowl can't pick the team they want, why the Cotton Bowl can't pick the team they want, but yet the Rose Bowl can pick who they want. Why are they getting an exemption? Why are they Notre Dame?
Rose Bowl entitlement. Rose Bowl entitlement.
Yeah.
Entitlement. Entitlement. You need
like I said,
entitlement.
They're the Notre Dame of bowl games.
Walt, Walt, have you ever been married?
Couple times.
All right. Then you should be able to answer that question easily. It's a powerful special interest group, is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'll thank you to leave my wife out of this.
But you know, this is the last of their power that they have. You know,
and they're going to use
it while they can. They got 2 more years to use it, and then they're kind of done.
Yeah, and they're going to.
It's not 1974 anymore. I can tell you that. So they can get over it. But
Oh, yeah.
what's interesting though is OSU, Ohio State's lobbying hard to get out of the Rose Bowl to get into the Orange Bowl this year, which they would bump us out. And they don't want to go to the Rose Bowl again because they've been the last 2 years in a row and they know they're not going to travel. And it's all the way across the country. And they want to be someplace, there where their teams or their fans will go to.
I guess we ought to be rooting for Utah tonight against USC at 8 p.m.
Like I said at the start of the video here, we need to be rooting for everybody who's ranked ahead of us because it gives us a better chance to get to a better bowl.
Yeah, I'm with John though. The big game is the Utah game because if Utah wins, that's the team that's teetering.
I'd still like to see TCU lose just because they've gotten so much crappy love on their shitty.
I'll thank you not to use that kind of language in my presence.
Excuse me, their crappy schedule this year in the crap 12.
Why?
Well, here's the thing. Honestly, I don't think so. I'm push back on that. I think they have a bunch of solid teams. Like I would say at the level of a Mississippi State, South Carolina, LSU.
Vandy.
Not Vandy. I think their worst team has 5 losses in the con. They're playing. They're not playing an Alabama or a Georgia like we are, but they aren't playing a Vandy either. They don't have a Vandy in their league or a Missouri in their.
Give me a break.
It's true.
Don't make me throw things.
Kick and scream all you want.
Now here's another question. Why is the committee so proud of Ohio State and Michigan in that Big Ten conference? Why are they so enamored with those teams? I don't get it.
Scott, you just don't get it, do you? You don't.
Because half of them are homers for Ohio State and Michigan. They've got at least 3 or 4 people on the committee that are Ohio State, Michigan people.
They love Big Ten football. They love Big Ten.
Oh, they're all about Big Ten. No matter how bad they suck, they could lose 10 games each, and they'd still. Well, we still got to have a Big Ten team, man. Like that thing I sent you, John, with if the 12-team playoff was today, based on today's rankings,
we'd be playing right now. We'd most likely be playing Kansas State at Knoxville. Would be our first game. Yeah, we'd be number 7 or whatever, and we'd be playing Kansas State. You think anybody'd show up for that game?
Yeah, and Kansas State would beat us because we don't have defense, and they're from the Big 12, and they're good. Big 12's great.
Now, we don't have Hooker.
Now, does that playoff, the 12-team playoff, does that start next year or the following?
2020.
Following year.
2024.
Then it's not 20. Yeah.
Not next year. No, one more year of this nonsense.
Yeah, 2 years.
Hold on, I got to get rid of this.
This is stupid. This should have been in place 20 years ago.
It's crazy that it's never.
You just don't get it.
No, I mean, you can only do it at the high school level and the lower college level. Surely you can't do it at a big college level.
And the NFL level.
Yeah.
It's the bowls and the tie-ins and the presidents. They didn't care.
Yeah, the playoffs are going to go over really well, and I got 500 million reasons why the playoff happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
So much money and so much attention will be on those games. I mean, everybody will watch every game in the playoff. Whereas how many bowl games do you watch? Do you watch the Rose Bowl? I don't give a crap about the Rose Bowl. Nobody cares about it. Now it's important.
Well, wait a minute. You got the Bahamas Bowl next weekend.
Yeah, that's important.
I like the Bahamas Bowl.
Yeah, anything to do with the playoff will be unbelievably watched. It will be mega watched.
The other thing, these kids are all opting out now. If they're any good at all, they think they're going to be a pro. They don't even go play the bowl game.
Unless they're in the top 4. Unless they're going to win a national title. Otherwise they're out. Which makes sense. If you're going to the NFL, why risk getting hurt? Well, here's what I can tell you. If you get hurt in that bowl game, that college is not going to give a crap about you the next year. They're going to say, that's a shame. Boy, he sure was a trooper.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Who's next?
If USC wins tonight, we're in the Cotton Bowl. We're done. because TCU is going to stay in the top 4. And so Ohio State's not going to make the playoffs. Rose Bowl's not going to take Ohio State. They're going to go to the Orange Bowl. We're in the Cotton Bowl.
100% right.
Oh, God. I'm going to be very angry.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Oh, no. No.
There's another insert right there.
Oh, no.
There's a chance.
So we got to root for Utah.
We got to root for Utah, and we got to root for.
They're going to let TCU in. If TCU loses, they're going to still let them in.
Yeah, why would they deserve to be in?
You do realize that even if we'd have beat South Carolina, we were still not going to get in that top 4 if USC wins.
If we won, we'd be sitting at 4 now. USC would be sitting at 5, and if USC beats Utah, we'd have gotten jumped. We could have booked that.
100%. There was heartbreak on the way. We still would have had to have another loss somewhere for somebody.
They couldn't wait to screw us out of the playoff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'd had to go undefeated to get in the playoff.
Well, all right. I think we covered all the bases. And oh, by the way, it's almost midnight right now. I'm finishing up this video. I'm gonna launch it in the morning. But Utah's up 40-24, so that's going to help us with the bowl situation. I think that should seal us up for a better bowl. Probably the Orange Bowl, I would think at this point, because that's going to get Ohio State into the 4-team playoff. Now, had we beaten South Carolina, we'd be in, because USC had to lose, which I was not expecting. However, Caleb Williams hurt his leg, and he limped around after he got off to a really good start, and that really creaked USC. They could not win that ball game after he got hurt. He's a great scrambler, and he was not able to do that part of his game, and he's just not the same player when he's limping around in the backfield. So Utah wins the ball game, and that's one less team to worry about as far as creaking us on bowl games. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and SEC and college football and all that good stuff. Hope you did like the content. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.